Hi, how are you guys today? My name is Rebecca MsCeja. I'm an instructional specialist with Richmond Public Schools. I support, along with the team that I work alongside, we support the exceptional education students and teachers across the district. Today, I just want to spend a bit of time with you. I know you've been out of school for quite a while and we're not returning, but we still want to make sure we give you an opportunity to have some meaningful learning. So we're going to look over SOL 9.5, which is reading and analyzing a nonfiction passage. So today we're going to look at a story that is about science, it's about sound. But before we get to that, what I would like to do is anybody who uses an augmentative communication device, if you can kind of pause the video, go and pick up your device, because we want to go over some really specific vocabulary that we want to make sure is on your front screen or just maybe one or two layers down. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and go and get your device. And while you do that, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller and we'll be able to see the board. All right, go get your device. Okay, we're all back together. All right, let's look at some very specific vocabulary that we're going to need on your communication board today. Okay, we're going to, let me turn up the volume so I can just make sure you can hear this. And as we're going through this, I might make a few mistakes here and there, and you guys are familiar with Unique, so you'll see me moving around the page and pulling different pieces of instructional material up for you, okay? All right, so we need the word hear, vibrate, sound wave, hmm, okay, so if you can have those pieces, those icons up on your board, and if you have noise, that would be great too. These other pieces more than likely are on it. Rhett is a Red is a character. That's not going to be on your device, but we can definitely click that, or you can click it even as you go into your account, or you'll see it on printouts that your parents can pull off of RPS website. So this story is downloaded and is available for your family to review with you at a later time. All right, let's get going. All right. So we are going to be looking at the story, a story that's within the book called Sound, Light, and Theater. But we're going to be looking at chapter 1, okay? Then we are going to preview our assessment. We're going to look at our questions right before we read our story so that it gives us a good idea of the information we're looking for. This is just a really good tip for any time that you're taking an assessment for you to be able to focus on the important information. Go right to the end of the assessment, look at those questions. Don't worry about the answers, just the questions, and then go back and read your passage. And it kind of just helps get your brain focused in that area. Then we're also going to complete a little activity here that's going to tell us what type of story was this and what was the topic about. All right? Okay. So before we get too far into this, the very first thing we want to do is we want to do a KWL chart. Now you did these many times. It's what do you know already? What do you want to know? And what do you know already? What questions do you have? What do you want to know? And what did you learn? Right? So we're going to take a real quick look at this will be what we'll be working from. And so once we go through and we do our picture walk, then we're going to come back to this page and we're going to look at our information, okay? All right. Let me make this just a little bit bigger. You guys know you can go over and enlarge things for yourselves. It's easier to see. Right, here we go. So the title of our book is Light, Sound, and the Theater. The book is written by Maggie Gaither. Now here it just says that it's written by, but we know that that means she's the what? She's the author of the book. And then here we see that Alex Weishart is the illustrator. Now tell me, think about what is an illustrator. If you need to turn to a family member and ask a question, that would be fine. Yes, an illustrator is the person who did all of the pictures in the passage. Now we're going to take a look at the table of contents. Anytime you're in a chapter book, you're going to have the table of contents, and it's going to tell you what each of the different chapters are about. So we're doing chapter 1, begins on page 1, and it's entitled The Sound Waves of Music. Then there's chapter 2, which is Turning Up the Volume. Finding the Right Pitch is chapter 3. Chapter 4 is Light Check. Chapter 5 is Lights Up, and chapter 6 is Waves in the Theater. So let's go ahead and begin our story. If I get that to the right place. There we go. All right. So to make sure that all of our readers have equal access, we are going to do the picture supported version. Not all of our students require this level of support, but we do want to make sure that all of our students are engaged. So we're going to do our picture walk and our text walk. So this is just going to help us to go through and get an idea of what is our story about. So we see that we have a young lady and a gentleman. The young lady has a thought bubble with a question mark in it. So we have to kind of figure out what that is about. And then here we see he's holding and possibly playing a guitar because we've got little lines. So why do we have lines? Then we have a picture of the guitar with this enlarged picture of a wavy string. Another picture of a guitar with an emoji with more of those sound, or I'm thinking sound waves. And this is wavy too. So given the title of our story, what do you think we might be looking for? Might be looking about sound. And then here we have what looks like a kid's toy. It's like a springy slinky. Have you ever played with one of those? You can pull it apart, and when it goes back together, it's about that high, but you can make it go down sets of stairs. And then our emoji has wavy lines under them. Again, that might be sound waves. We'll see. We have a picture of someone's ear, a very detailed picture. This is like where the eardrum is. Here's the cochlea that processes and has connected all of the nerves inside your ear. And here are those wavy lines again, which may very well be sound waves. Then we have a young lady. First, when I saw this, I thought, well, does she have a sore throat? Or I don't know. She's got music notes coming from her ear. So maybe, what do you think she might be doing? Because our emoji has something pointed at their ear too. It'll be interesting to see what is happening here. And then someone's knocking on a door, and we have those lines again, like there's sound. And then we have what I'm pretty sure is water, just bubbles with more of those sound waves coming through that. So let's go back to our KWL chart and let's see, what do we already know? So we know that the story is about sound because we know that from the title, correct? We know that there's a picture of a boy, he's playing a guitar. We know that if we just think about sound, because the title has the word sound in it, that sound is all around us all the time. We know that there are different types of sound, that there's music and people talking and animals, and we could add many, many more things. Maybe turn to a family member and talk about what are the kinds of sounds you hear at home or when you're out playing. Do you hear the TV? Do you hear someone's phone ring? If you're outside, do you maybe hear the car horns or a truck starting up? Many things that we already know. But what do we want to know? Let's see, what do we want to know? We got all these question marks. Why does the girl have a question mark by her head? Why are there lines, those little lines in every story, in every part of the story? Why is there a picture of that spring toy? What's that going to show us? There's a pretty detailed picture of the ear, right? So why do we have a picture of that? And then why is there a wavy guitar string in the picture? Why is someone knocking on a door? And is there a picture of water? Why is there a picture of water with the lines? So maybe again, we can turn to a family member and say, what else do you think we might want to know about our story? You can press pause and have a discussion and then come right back to us. All right, so let's go back to our story. And right before we read our story, we are going to do our little trick that helps us be successful on tests. And we are going to look at our test questions. We're going to see what information we need to be focusing on. What is this chapter about? What is a vibration? What does a vibration move? What does the sound wave move to? What do our throats do when we talk? What is important to know about this chapter? Okay, so those are real important questions we want to look at. This is just our initial quiz for our reading, but when we are done with the entire book, we'll have a little more questions about that. All right, and then we're going to also look at what do we need to look at here. So let's enlarge this a little bit more so we can see it. And we're going to need to answer what's the title of our chapter book? What do you think this chapter is about? Is this book fiction or nonfiction? Remember those? Remember, fiction is what? So we started at the beginning of the lesson. I said we were going to do 9.5, and it's about analyzing what kind of reading? It's a nonfiction reading. So are we doing a fiction book or a nonfiction? You infer based on that information. So infer means you use that information to help you make a good decision. What is the chapter topic? And then I want you to, with a family member, you're going to compare this book to another chapter book that you've already read. And then I want you to share with a family member when we get ready to do this, what kind of book would you choose to read? All right, are we ready? Okay, here we go. Chapter 1. All right, what I want to do is I don't want it to read aloud because it will be a little boring. All right, but let's see if I can do that without it. So chapter 1, the sound waves of music. The students are ready for their play. Rhett grabs his guitar. He starts to play. How does the guitar make noise? The students watch Rhett play the note again. The strings move. The students hear a sound. The guitar string vibrates. A vibration is a The vibration is a fast movement. The vibration moves the air. This vibration makes a sound wave. So now we have that picture of our slinky toy. Okay, so let's go back real quick. So we have our emoji with those lines, and so the information about about that picture is the guitar string does what? It vibrates. So that's what's telling us about this picture. And a vibration is a fast movement. The vibration moves it moves the air. This vibration makes a sound wave. Miss Bess shows the students a spring toy. She pushes one side of the spring toy. The spring toy moves together and apart. This is how a sound wave moves. Oh, so they're using the toy to help us understand how the sound wave moves. Oh, very good. A sound wave moves to your ear. It makes the eardrum move. The eardrum sends a message to the brain. The brain tells us what sound we hear. Very good. It's our picture with a young lady holding her throat. All right, I'm going to give you just a minute. I want you to read this with a family member. Other things also make sound. Our throats vibrate when we talk. So this is about vibrating. So take just a minute, put your hand right at your throat and just talk to a family member. Can you feel it? Can you feel it moving? Okay, fingers right there. Your fingers right there. Now, if you talk really high pitched, you feel the vibrations go up your neck. And if you talk really, really low, you feel them go down closer to your collarbone right there. So that's what's happening in our picture. Sound waves move. They can go through water, walls, or air. Sound waves need to move through something to vibrate. So let's read that again. Sound waves move. They can go through water, walls, or air. Sound waves move through something to vibrate. Sound waves need to move through something to vibrate. So sound waves have to have something that helps them travel. Our picture with our bubble. Sound waves go fast through solid things. They travel far through water. When you are far away, sounds are hard to hear. So let's go back to our KWL and let's see, what did we learn? What did we learn? We learned that sound starts a vibration when he plucked the string. So back at that story, back in our story, where he was starting to play the guitar, we saw that that was about the vibrations of the strings, right? The strings started to move and the students could hear the sound. Okay. We learned that the slinky was to show how the sound waves push together and pull apart to move in the air. Let's go back to that. So here's the slinky, and it shows the students how a spring toy, Miss Bess shows the students a spring toy. She pushes one side of the spring toy. The spring toy moves together and apart. This is how a sound wave moves. We learned how the sound wave enters the ear and tells our brain what to hear. The sound wave moves into our ear. It makes the eardrum move, and then the same word, eardrum sends a message to our brain. The brain tells us what sound we hear. Very good. We learn that our vocal cords in our throat vibrate as we talk or sing. Other things also make sound. Our throat vibrates when we talk, or I would say when we sing as well. we learned that sound can travel through particles. Now, particles are really small pieces that are a part of any object, of anything. It's all made of particles. And so that's a very special vocabulary word we wanted to introduce. We're talking about that a door is made of very small pieces. That's a particle. We have particles in water, particles in air. Sound waves move. They can go through water, walls, or air. Sound waves need to move through something to vibrate. So they have to have something that they go through. All right, very good. So now let's take a look at our assessment. Okay. You know what? Right before we do that, I have something kind of fun to show you. So let me make this a little bit bigger. I gathered some things from around the house that I thought might be fun to just see how they make noise. Okay? They're all different kinds of things. So I just got a big spoon, and I'm going to use the end of it to lightly tap on different surfaces to see how they sound. Now here we have a metal drinking bottle. We have the glass top of my lamp. We have the metal clock with glass. We're just going to tap on this part. And then we have something really pretty cool. This is a very old example of how you can make sound by using small little pieces of metal to vibrate off of a cylinder. So can you see? Very cool, right? So you can see that there's these little metal teeth right here, and they vibrate off of bumps that are on the cylinder, and when they're cranked, they play the song because the little bumps are in the right order of the pitches. All right, so that's a vibration of the metal. Let's see what our glass lamp sounds like. So it kind of echoes a little bit, and it's not a real high pitch sound. Let's see about our metal bottle. We're going to bring it around here. That is very high. So we can see that those sound waves are going through it, but it gives us a different sound. And the sound waves going through glass, it's a little deeper sound, isn't it? Because it's a heavier glass. It's very high. That almost sounds like a bell. So let's look at the metal of our clock stand. Oh, that just sounds like a dud, doesn't it? That's just like not much noise at all. And then let's just hit the wood on our musical piece. Oh, that's even more solid. If I was really musical, I could come up with a song. Not really sure I could come up with a song though. Pretty cool, right? That's all about how sound travels through different things. So what I'd like you to do is after we're done, why don't you locate some fun things in your house? Make sure you get them approved by your mom, okay? Don't go get your mom's good glass or anything like that. Maybe some pots and pans or anything that's in your room that you want to try and see what different types of sounds different objects make in your home and how those sound waves are traveling through. All right, let's go ahead and let's take a look at our test questions here, okay? And let's see what we're doing, what we've got. All right, what is this chapter about? So you guys remember how this works from school. If we click the wrong answer, we get red, right? If we click a right answer, we get green. So let's see what our answer, let's see what our choices are and what our answers will be. What is this chapter about? Is it about noise? Is it about clothes? Or is it about toys? You remember anything in our book about toys? Don't know that I remember anything in our book about toys. Okay, we always want to go back in our reading and see. Was it about noise? Noise. Now that was green. So as we go back through, we can see that in our story, we're talking about how he grabbed his guitar and he started to play and how it made noise. Okay? Always go back and check your answers. What is a vibration move? What does a vibration move? Does it move people, buildings, or air? What does a vibration move? Well, let's look back in our story, back in our reading passage. Students, as they play a note, the string moves, the students hear a sound. The guitar string vibrates. The vibration is a fast movement. The vibration moves the air. Okay? So let's go back and see if that's a choice. What does a vibration move? Vibration moves air. Very good. All right. What does the sound wave move to? So let's think about that question. What does the sound wave move to? Does it move to the ear? Does it move to your foot? Or does it move to your hair? Remember, we don't guess. We go back in our passage and we get evidence that supports what our answer is. Okay? Miss Biss shows that Miss Biss shows the students a spring toy. She pushes one side of the spring toy moves together and apart. This is how the sound wave moves. Our answer isn't there, so we go to our next page. The sound wave moves to your ear. Okay, so let's go back to our assessment. What does the sound wave move to? Ear, foot, or hair? Ear. Very good. What do our throats do when we talk? Oh, yep. What do our throats do when we talk? Let's go back to that part of the story. Now, probably, how are we going to use our pictures to help us? Here we help the picture of the ear. That was helpful. And here the young lady is holding what? She's holding her throat. So let's go to that page and see if our answer to our question is, what do our throats do when we talk? Other things also make sound. Our throats vibrate when we talk. What do our throats do when we talk? Our throats vibrate when we talk. Our throats vibrate when we talk. All right. Good. What is important to know about this chapter? Everything that we've read, what is the most important thing that we learned? We learned we hear sound with our hands. Do we hear sound with our hands? No. Sound waves need to move through something. Sound waves do not vibrate. Now, there's some that we can automatically get rid of, right? We just know they're not the right answer. So we know that sound doesn't go through our hands, right? So we can just not worry about that. And then sound waves do not vibrate. So let's go back up to an earlier question here. What do our throats do when we talk? They vibrate. So shall we try? Oh, you want to try C? Well, no, just because the word vibrate is there doesn't mean that that's the answer. Look right here at these two important words that say do not vibrate. So let's Try B. B. Very good. Very good. All right. So let's just look at one last thing that I promised we would go through. What is the title of our chapter? So we've got to go all the way back to our book. We're going to go back. We'll take a shortcut here. The sound waves of music. See, we just took a shortcut. All right. Oops, I spelled it wrong. Now, why did I capitalize all of those words? The sound waves, not of, but music. Why did we capitalize all of those? Because it's a title. That's absolutely right. And of is got this fancy category. It's called an article, and we wouldn't necessarily capitalize that. But the most important information of the title we do capitalize. What do you think this chapter will be about? Well, we've already read it. So what is it about? What was it about? You're absolutely right. It was about sound. And I would even say how sound is made and how sound does what? Travels. Good. So is this chapter book, what kind of book is this? Is it a fiction or is it nonfiction? So remember, go back to what I said when we first started. We were doing SOL 9.5 about nonfiction reading, right? So nonfiction or you're right, nonfiction. What is the chapter topic? What is the chapter topic? Is it a biography? Is it a social studies or is it science? So let's revisit what these mean. So a biography is about a person, their life, everything that they've done. Was our story about a person, the whole thing about a person? No. Was it about social studies, where we live, how we travel? No, it wasn't about that. So social studies, science. Which was it? It was a science story. Compare this book to a chapter book that has been read recently. So I want you to just discuss with your family what chapter books you've read recently and how do you compare that? What was the same about it and what was different? And then with your family, discuss what kind of book would you choose? Would you choose a picture book, chapter book, comic book with facts? Or which of those would you choose? So you decide what type of reading you like. Well, listen, it was really great spending time with you today. I enjoyed it very much, and I hope we get to meet again. Please be safe during this time. Follow all of the rules. We put up a special activity lesson on COVID-19, so definitely take a minute and read and listen to that as well. But stay safe, and we will see you very, very soon.